Now, a lot of you guys know the brand Nivada. It's been revived several years ago. They're bringing their back catalogue to life. And although some of their watches have been hit and miss lately, they've also got some gems. This thing here is drop dead gorgeous. I've had it on the wrist. It's so beautiful to look at. And one of the reasons I think it's so beautiful is this was designed back in the 50s. Now, they've released 3 different variants. One of them, they've basically found 18 dials and 18 movements from the past, new old stock, and they've assembled 18 watches. Now that's only 18 watches that are limited, and they're over $4,000 Australian. That's not inexpensive by any means, but for the rest of us, they've also made 38mm variant and another 35mm variant that are accessible around about the $1,400 Australian dollar mark. So, and that's pretty much accessible because the watch is beautiful. Now, I think it's a beautiful watch. It's not perfect. There's about 3 or 4 different flaws that I found on this model, but gee, overall the experience has been good. But I want to share about that in my room for improvement section, what I think could offer some slight tweaks to make this watch even better. Now, you saw the pop-up. Nivada has sponsored this video, so I will of course leave the links in the description section. And if you've got enough money in your back pocket and you want to outlay on those 18 original dials and movements, they're just over 4,000 bucks Australian dollars. Check them out, but I think this is a more viable option, honestly, and a more practical, common sense alternative. Now, the physical dimensions of this particular watch that I have in my hands, I measure a case diameter of 38 with a case height of 11.3. The lug to lug is 44.8 and a lug width of 20. The crown is a 5.3mm signed onion style screw down crown. The watch offers 100 meters of water resistance, and the total weight on the supplied leather strap, I measure exactly 64 grams. Now, the look and the feel of this watch on the wrist has been absolutely sublime. I've really enjoyed the dial. In fact, I think this is one of those designs done right. The case coming in at 11.3mm in height, as well as the comfort on that supplied leather racing strap, I've had nothing but joy on the wrist with this watch. It's been lovely to look at and enjoy, and I think a lot of that comes down to that dial. It's a tuxedo dial with a vintage silver color with vertical brushing down the middle. Alongside those highly polished indices, this watch is giving off a really nice feel. Even that date complication at the 3, which is nicely framed, has been an easy read. And I think this harkens back to my original argument that stuff that was designed back in the 50s and 60s, gee, a lot of these designers, they got it right. And being able to bring something like this back, I love this. I really do like the look of this watch. Now, obviously reviving something from the past, you're also going to have some shortfalls, and one of them is that lume. The watch features light old radium superluminova dots. It's just there, it's barely visible. The fact that it's there pretty much harkens to an old style watch, which again is a nice touch, but whether they omitted that lume or kept it in there, neither here nor there. In daylight, having a nice subtle creamy tone, it does add a vintage flair. Just subtle enough to make a difference and make this thing look like it came from the past, new old stock. Now, if I turn the watch over, you'll notice there's a solid case back with a gold coloured embossed US base in Antarctica. I think that's appropriate for the style of watch. And hiding behind that case back is the Soprod P024 automatic. It's got around 38 hours of power reserve, running at 4 Hz, and it also features hacking. Now, when the elements of a watch all come together, from the case, the dial, the handset, it's always important to get things right. So to get them to match, to look appropriate. And I think the crystal on this watch is a double dome sapphire, appropriately chosen for this dial. It's got anti-reflective coating on the underside with a slight blue hue to it. It is the viewing glass to that dial. And for me, this has been doing a very good job, albeit I'm not a fan of that blue tinted AR coating. Now, all that said, I did mention there are some areas that could offer room for improvement on this particular watch, and I also want to speak about the limited edition watch. But for this one here, the first thing that I notice is that crown coming in at 5.3mm. There's not enough nerding at the extreme edge, so you might find a little bit of difficulty if you've got slightly larger hands of actually screwing and unscrewing this crown. Now, its functionality has been great, but actually getting a grip on it, you might find that a little bit tricky, especially with bigger hands. Next for me, as I mentioned, I've said this before with Nivada watches, I'm going to say it again, I hope Nivada starts listening. I do not like blue anti-reflective coating on the underside of a crystal. I think go the extra mile, put clear anti-reflective coating, and I think the look of this watch would really get elevated. I also mentioned the lume. It's neither here nor there. Well, it's there, but it's not. So you come in from a sunny day, come into a dark environment, oh wow, and then you look again 10 seconds later, where's the lume? It's gone. So it's not really a long-lasting lume. It's just a vintage feel, light old radium superluminova dots. They barely make an impression, but subtle enough during the day to make the watch look just that little bit vintage. And lastly, I want to speak about that limited edition version. There's only 18 dials, 18 movements, so 18 watches all up. It's a 35mm case diameter, so I think it's nice. However, the fact that there's only 18 of these watches available, if there's a problem down the track, my question to Nivada is, do you have spare parts in reserve for that movement or whatever might go wrong with those watches if in future there's any servicing or parts that break and so forth? Just putting it out there as a question mark. Hopefully there are enough parts in reserve to cover those 18 watches for people who purchase them moving forward. And for me, honestly, I think this 38mm variant is a more modern take, more appropriate to today's lifestyle choices. I've been wearing this, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's been a very classy look. And with a black leather racing strap that they've matched up on this watch, it's a nice casual look. But I suspect you can pretty much dress this thing up or dress this thing down with any strap of your choice. And I really like the way that that tuxedo dial and all the elements on it seem to work and work really well. So I hope you enjoyed my take on this brand new release from Nivada. As I mentioned, some of their watches have been hit and miss. This particular one here, I think they've nailed it. It has been beautiful to look at, wonderful tonality on that dial, and it just seems to play with the light. And the texture on that vertical brushed vintage silver section in the center has also been a real delight to look at. So let me know in the comment sections what you think about this particular watch. There are plenty of new offerings out there on the market, and as I always say, do your homework, make sure that the watch you buy suits your particular lifestyle. I'm all for brand new mainstream watches, I'm all for second-hand watches, pre-owned, and I'm also all for independents and micro brands. As long as the watches are done well, have a good backing, and have developed a good reputation, I think we're all pretty much spoiled for choice. So be well and safe, continue to enjoy this hobby, and we'll see you in the next one.